Next Podcast.
Hey, welcome back to the Up Next Podcast. It's your host, Victor Castaldo. And I have a guest with me, John R. Mohr. And he does a couple different types of things. And so I'm really glad that he happened to hit me up on Facebook because I said I was looking for more features on the podcast. So how are you doing today, John?
Well, I am freezing
Yep.
because it's cold.
Yep.
Can I have a winter coat on?
Yep.
And I'm still freezing, so such is life.
Yep. It's supposed to snow again today, too.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
seriously?
Snow's coming back.
Oh, I'm not ready.
So what do you create, John?
Well, primarily I create these orchestral songs, so songs that have, for example, strings, brass, woodwinds, and percussion, sometimes choir. Actually, quite a lot of choir since I really love choirs.
Yeah.
And I also create solo piano songs, which is probably the simplest song for me to compose usually. And sometimes I actually compose these metal tracks, since even though I compose a lot of orchestral songs, I've loved the metal genre since I was like probably 12. So I think I've composed like probably a single song that is actually close to the metal genre. Though I'm also not really quite sure how to mix guitars and drums and bass and
Yeah,
all that. So I kind of suck at that. I'm not going to lie, but yeah.
So are you playing these instruments we were talking about making
No,
a piece? Or are they electronic?
they are virtual instruments. And they typically cost like probably 100, between 300 for each virtual instrument. The first virtual instrument that I purchased was East West Quantum Leaps Symphonic Orchestra Silver, and that cost like probably 200.
Okay.
And that came with essentially the entire orchestra.
Oh, cool,
So
cool.
that was a really solid way to start composing that sort of genre.
Okay, so do you use like a MIDI controller then?
Yeah, I use the Nectar Impact LX25 Plus.
How do you like it?
It has some pretty lights, so it's pretty great.
I
But,
think I've looked at it for that reason, to be honest with you.
yeah, see? Though the keys themselves are the actual full width of a typical piano's keys, though they are only semi-weighted, I think,
Okay.
which is fine since the keyboard itself only costs like 100, so
Yeah, that's pretty
that's
good.
pretty solid. for
Yeah.
that.
How many keys is it? Or how many octaves?
I think it's 2, I believe. I think it's a
Okay.
25 key.
Okay.
I can't recall the different like levels of
Like that one
keys.
in my drawer? Is it about that size?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that looks like a 20. I'm really not sure exactly how many keys it has. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, it's essentially that
Yeah.
width. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get I was looking at getting a 5-octave or a 6-octave MIDI, but I had so many issues with Guitar Center. Like, I'm not
Really?
trying to hate on Guitar Center here, but I will openly say that I bought 2 Artura MIDIs because I have a 2-octave MIDI by Artura, so I have the software for them. I know their stuff. I don't have to get a new driver. I'm familiar with it. It's just got
Mhm.
more controls and more octaves. It's like $207 on Black Friday, so I was like, okay, definitely gonna try to get it. I bought it, brought it home. It was used. The access code was already used, and the keyboard was like dirty. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh no.
Returned it. And that I got the black one first. Mine here is white, so I returned it and I said, hey, can I actually return it? And this was the issues, and can you send me a white one now that I'm doing all this because I want to match my other one? Got the white one. Access codes were used, and it was dirty.
It happened again.
Went down again to good old Guitar Center and told the manager about it. I've called in by this time. I've talked to a few of them now, and like, oh, we'll make it worth your drive. Please keep in mind, this is like a 90-mile round trip drive,
Oh no.
and I've done it several times now.
Oh no.
The only thing I'm glad about is that I can write off the miles for that for my business, but otherwise, this was a total loss. And he tries to sell me another Artura, and I am like, dude, I don't ever want another Artura. Now the one I've loved for 4 years, I just don't even want because it's pissing me off. I emailed Artura, and they're like, well, if you could send us your access codes, I mean, it's probably a user error. I'm like, I'm not this, and this was like 2 weeks after I emailed them. I'm like, I'm not even interested anymore. I never want your products, and I make sure no one ever gets one. So please consider when you get a MIDI. You might want to open the box, make sure the paper isn't torn or a bite. There was literally a bite missing out of the paper, like a dog.
Seriously?
Like you could see teeth marks.
Bite? Oh my God.
And definitely used. So I'm not sure if that was some sort of fluke, but I don't think so because it happened twice. And I got one shipped directly from the warehouse. I got one at the store. So open the MIDI, make sure it's good, make sure the access codes work. I think some people just get a MIDI and they don't utilize all the sounds that come with it. So I make sure all that works. None of that worked. I was trying to give away some of the software because I have Ableton, so I was going to give away the demo for Ableton they included.
Yeah.
Couldn't do that anymore because the demo was used. So it definitely set me back. And now I still don't have a MIDI because I don't want to deal with it. So make sure when you're going to buy any gear like that, you check it out and you make sure it's all new. And I'm not sure where to tell you to go. I guess Sweetwater. I personally haven't gone there. A lot of people I know do.
You could also probably simply try Amazon, since that's
Yeah.
where I purchased pretty much all of the keyboards that I have. So
Yeah, I probably will do that because it can't be any worse than having to return it that many times. So
yeah, that is pretty bad. That is really bad.
anyway, I had to get that rant out. So sorry if you guys are listening to that, but please just learn from my mistakes because that was a setback. As my wife will tell you, that was not a happy few weeks for me.
Yeah.
And I still don't have a MIDI that's big enough for me to play several octaves. So anyway, we'll get there.
Yep. One day.
Yeah, one day. It's on my goals. I literally have a list of music goals, and that's still on there. I hate putting things back on there for sure. I love checking things off. I hate adding things. So, but anyway,
Yeah.
enough about me. Let's get back to you and your story. So,
Yeah.
So how long you been creating, John?
Well, it's a slightly longer story, though, since I received a Yamaha YPT210, I think it's called. It's a 61 key digital piano. I received that, I think, in 4th grade or so. Yeah, and I learned like maybe sections of 20 separate songs, though I never learned an entire song because I didn't have the attention span to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I put the keyboard itself down until like probably 8th grade. And then for some reason I picked it up a second time in 8th grade. And I learned quite a few sections of metal songs. And then I dropped it until like 11th grade. Because in 11th, I took a music appreciation class, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, that made me realize that I actually wanted to try to compose songs. And when I tried, I realized I have no fucking clue how this works.
Yeah.
It's like, what's music theory? What's any of this? How is a key signature real? What is happening? I don't... Flats, sharps, what?
Yeah.
Double flats and sharps? What the fuck is that? What's the point?
Yeah.
But anyway. So I taught myself some music theory in 2016 in January, I think. Yeah, and I officially composed my first song on January 12th, I think. I finished it. So at this point, I've been officially composing for about 4 years.
Okay. With some experience more in your childhood, but...
Yeah, well, ish.
Ish,
It's like
yeah.
sort
I
of
mean,
experience.
mine was very ish, dude. I mean, so at my school, let's make it about me again. At my school, we had this piano teacher, and everybody took piano classes, which was in a little room, half the size of this studio, so a pretty small room.
Yeah, that's...
And, it's you, a piano, and a teacher, and there's no more room. And there was this piece of shit wood door that was like plywood, and then the rest of the class. So everybody heard you, and there's a window they can stand there and just watch you. And I wasn't good. So then I basically acted like I hated it so I could stop playing a piano and on a pedestal. Because at the end of the year, there's a recital, and you have to perform in the recital.
Oh, no.
And you have to do several songs.
Oh.
And you have to do at least one duet. And I'm like, no. This is just too much of what the woman wanted it to be, not what I wanted to do, regardless if that's the school putting her the pressure on it, whatever. And so eventually I got out of that, and then I went to some guitar lessons. A couple times I wanted to go, some of the times I didn't want to go, and then I learned some full songs just by like using the internet and studying it that way. But yeah, I mean, pretty similar. Like, it just didn't really click with me until about 2015.
Yeah.
That's when I really started. So I like when people ask me how long I've been doing this, I say 5 years, especially with like the audio and the engineering and producing side of it for sure. But I've been
Definitely.
writing songs since like 2013. But that's just lyrics for a couple years. Actually found one of the old ones in my
Oh,
Google
man.
Drive accidentally yesterday. It was so bad.
Oh
That's
man, I
hilarious.
feel that. I used to write a lot of poems in my freshman and sophomore
Yeah.
year of high school, and now I hate like all of them.
Yeah.
And I also wrote the lyrics for a song. It's called, in all caps, I think, our band's last song from our album called End of the World. And that's the actual song title.
Mhm.
That was the entire song title, and it was some of the worst shit I've ever seen. Just like, I am so happy that I stopped writing lyrics.
It's interesting going back because sometimes I listen to a beat that I made a long time ago and I'm like, this is a great beat, and then like the next 10 are trash, and then like
Yeah.
some of those trash ones I sold, and it's like that doesn't even make sense to me why they're buying those ones. But it's hard
Right.
because when you're looking at yourself, like the thing I don't like about my raps, I think I write good, I write fast, I can write a song in like 5-10 minutes,
Oh, same, yeah.
and I think I can write cool content, I can make it simple, I can make it complex, I can make good structure and rhyme scheme. The thing I just don't like is my voice, but I think we all judge um, our whatever we create, our content, in such a different view than what um, a stranger would view it as. Now, obviously, family and friends or enemies are going to view it a certain biased way too.
Yeah.
But totally, strangers would see it as like they just see the content. They don't know you. They don't know that you're a good kid or a bad kid. They don't know that you do good in school or don't.
Yeah.
They don't know if you have what kind of job. They don't know how much songs you've created. If they just hear a song because you pop up on their Spotify or their YouTube or whatever, then you're getting like a real listen. So I think a lot of the attention has to be, how do you make something that holds their attention long enough for them to continue listening for someone who's random? Because I think everybody's goal is not to just get their parents and their siblings to go and play their stuff on YouTube to
Oh, yeah,
do 5
absolutely.
plays. So the point is, how do you get it to go so when it pops up on a random feed via promotion, they watched YouTube for hours and you popped up, they search something similar to you, whatever, tags, how do you get it to where they'll listen to more than a few seconds and then hold their attention for at least the duration of the piece? So I think that's a big focus for me.
That's an interesting thing that you said, since pretty recently, actually, I think it was like last week, I think, I ran a promotional post on Instagram for one of my songs that released yesterday. It's called Hiding in the Orchestra. And the way that I created that post was I essentially took the MIDI file for the actual song, and then I placed the file inside a program called a Synthesia, which is essentially a piano roll visualizer.
Okay.
So it actually shows the MIDI notes themselves actually falling. And I put the actual song file, or the song audio, on top of a video that I filmed of Synthesia. So when people saw it on Instagram, they saw the video has a Synthesia visualizer. So it's essentially a visual way of seeing the actual song. So it's not like you're just listening to the song. You can also see the actual
Yeah.
song itself.
Yeah.
And I think that video got, or no, I think I dropped $20 on promotion for that for 24 hours. And that video received like 1,200 views, almost 300 now. And I got 12 new followers as well. So I haven't run too many promotions quite yet.
Yeah.
Though I think there's a very powerful factor that's in play with visuals for a song instead of the song itself.
I agree. I think I've ran some, honestly, with less than 20, like, or maybe like 20, but spaced out over days, and it's different.
Oh
They show you
yeah.
the different potential reach or whatever. I have a couple different promotion presets now of like,
Oh yeah.
one's called like Ohio Blast, so it's like it really hits all the towns in Ohio and the target audience within Ohio, and people who are
Yeah.
interested in the music things that I might be able to provide or the services I might be able to provide.
Mm.
And I'm pretty happy with the results off that because Facebook and Instagram. Facebook is now owning Instagram, or I don't know if they always have. They own it now,
Yeah.
so it's the same. So like if you go on Facebook, that preset's loaded into your Facebook if you set it up on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So you could then do the same exact, unless you could change it as well, but you could do the same promotion. You could target the same people on either app, and it saves that. So I thought that was pretty cool because I thought I was gonna have to go back and click everything again and
Definitely.
So I like the user interface with doing the promotions, and it's so much. I've been doing a lot of research on them actually. It's so much cheaper than radio was or is still, or in TV ever was or still is. But the reach is exactly who the people you want to reach,
Yeah.
and it's way less money, and it's at your own pace. You can pause it.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the actual results. You don't know who saw your TV ad. You're going to hope that people call you, and if they don't, you're going to be like, wow, it didn't work. They might have saw it. The number might have been too small. The volume might have been bad. You don't know why they didn't call, but with this, it's like you said, you can see how many people, you can see how many people viewed it or liked it. You can see what the reach was, and you can see how many followers you get. And likely, if you get 12 overnight and you promoted it overnight, probably that's a lot from the promotion. So it's way more interactive, and dollar wise, it just makes so much more sense.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Even like a billboard these days is $500 minimum a month to rent a billboard. If you put $500 into your Instagram ads, you'd get so much more business.
That is a lot of views.
Yeah,
a lot of views actually.
A lot of views, and if you sold a few pieces, you could make that 500 back. You're not going to make that back off the billboard. So it's like, people like in the older generation are, I think a generation above us are starting to understand it, and the generation above them refuse to understand it.
Oh yeah.
So once we sort of become like, the 40-year-old parent age, and everybody else, the generation below us is definitely going to be not interested, I think, in TV and stuff. Maybe like Hulu ads, but that's, it's the streaming services and it's the social media sites that are the future of all that promoting. And
definitely.
I think that's I'm starting to do a lot of research into social media stuff. I think it's really interesting. There's so much content that you can learn from, and so many people you can learn from for free or for very low prices. I mean, this guy sent me a free book for connecting with him on LinkedIn. He sent me a free book that he wrote about getting more, basically more results from your post about music. And yeah, so.
I know that I told you this earlier, though be sure to check out that Adam Ivy person since the marketing scene itself is like totally changed.
Yeah.
Because like you can accomplish like pretty much anything with Twitter, Facebook / Instagram. Since I don't know, take for example the Cash Me Outside girl, if you recall that. So she at first was nothing at all. She was nothing at all.
Yeah.
Though she appeared on Dr. Phil somehow. I'm not really sure how she even got on Dr. Phil in the first place, but
probably her mom
just like
trying to deal with her.
It's like, I think I could create money from I'm sorry, that's mean. That's mean. But regardless, she appeared on Dr. Phil like once and said, "Catch me outside, how about that?" Blah 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 blah. And then now she has released a few songs, and she's essentially rich.
Yeah.
So the way that marketing works now is that the brand itself is really, really important. So if you have a very strong brand or something that really embodies yourself, and for example, her famous, Catch Me Outside, you can find some like really hardcore success from nothing at all. So it's pretty fantastic personally. And It's something that I don't think enough music composers or producers really realize.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more opportunity for us than there was for people 5, 10 years ago even.
Yeah, there's a lot more potential for success
Yeah.
and essentially different avenues for finding success nowadays.
Definitely. So we're talking about, learning a lot of different things online and learning from different people about, the marketing side, the promotion sides, and the, um, you know, availability of the content is it's just endless. I mean, we probably could spend the rest of our lives on YouTube but not finish even a certain topic on YouTube. So it's just limitless. It's almost hard to find the good content within the trash, but
It is, honestly. And first of all, we should probably return to the questions like soon here. But anyway, it's hard to sort of differentiate the trash from the actual like quote unquote art. Though at the same time, trash is successful because, like, for example, Jake Paul, he sucks, honestly. Personally, I'm not really a fan, though he is successful. He is really, really successful. And it's just like,
Catch Me Outside girls.
Yeah. She also kind of sucks.
Yeah.
She's successful, though.
Yeah. I heard that she got in a Amigos video shoot.
She really?
At like 16, and there was a huge contradiction because she was like barely dressed and she's like 16.
Oh.
And then that actually like helped her popularity because she's on the Migos set, and then there was the drama about it.
Yep, it's all controversy.
Yeah.
Since controversies themselves aren't really usually, that's important to keep in mind. They aren't usually hurtful for the artist themselves. Usually. There are exceptions, which I can't think of any at the moment. Though.
Oh, right, or R. Kelly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
That's just the one that comes to my head because it was recent. But definitely, I mean, Chris Brown and Rihanna. I mean,
yeah.
That ultimately did not help Chris Brown's career. It probably didn't hurt her career, but it definitely hurt his. And I mean, as it should have if that whole story was true. But I'm just saying, people often, I think, stimulate, beef in the rap game just to help their careers. I think a lot of it's premeditated and not, I mean, I really hate this guy I never met. Let me write this diss track about him. I just hate him so much. No, I think it's like even your managers might have called you and been like, all right, look, man, this is going to help us both. And, it is. If two mainstream artists go head to head, people will listen to it. Even if they know it's fake, they'll listen to it. So.
You could probably make the argument that sort of thing is essentially another form of marketing.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, and I think it probably was in the past, but everything in the past was covered up a lot more. Now people don't really care if you notice that they're greasy. Then you're like, well, you still viewed my stuff. So
I also find it super funny because you said that we were shooting for like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
We're up to 25.
Yeah. I was watching the timer, but we've been recording so long that the timer has disappeared behind my trippy screensaver.
Disappeared.
So, no, that's okay. I mean, I have several that are over an hour. I was just saying we didn't need to go that long. But
honestly, personally, this is actually really, really fun for me at the moment.
Cool.
So
cool. I'm having a good time.
I'm totally fine with this since there's like not a single person I've actually talked with this much in terms of just marketing and songs and everything. So this feels really good.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I enjoy this stuff because I wouldn't do this podcast if I hated it, but it's cool. It brings people together, and you got to see the studio, and people get to learn a little bit about who you are too. And of course we'll tag like your YouTube channel, and if there's any specific things that you want to be tagged, you could always tag them as well or let me know. But I would like to get through some questions about you.
Yes, so would I.
Okay. Okay. So, who or what inspires you to create?
I think probably the very first person that I can think of at first is Hans Zimmer,
Mhm.
since he composed the soundtrack for, Interstellar, The Lion King, I believe, and also Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, really? I didn't know that one.
Just he composed the soundtrack for the third film at least. I think he composed the soundtrack for the second film. I'm pretty sure he did.
Okay.
Though someone else, I can't remember his name. Someone else composed the original theme for the first Pirates of the Caribbean. I feel really bad that I can't recall his name. But though it's now sort of changing into various other composers.
Mhm.
So, like, for example, there's a metal artist called Devin Townsend
Mhm.
who last March he released an album called Empath, and there are two songs on that. There's two songs on it. Yeah, one of them is called Why, and the other is called Requiem. And in August of last year, I actually tried to recreate
Oh, cool.
the song Why, since that track is fully orchestral.
Mhm.
And I was trying to figure out how to actually sound like that,
Mhm.
because he had English horns, he had bassoons, French horns, and just all these instruments that I never really touched
Mhm.
for 3 years.
Mhm.
And I'm like, there's a lot of potential with the things I have that I'm not really using.
Yeah.
So uh, once I finished recreating that song, I learned quite a lot of how to properly use an orchestra.
Mhm.
So now this is a very long answer to the question.
Yeah.
But so now I think my current inspirations are Devin Townsend and James Newton Howard, since he composed the soundtrack for Atlantis: The Fallen Empire. If you've ever seen that
I
before,
haven't.
that's a shame. It's really good.
Okay.
And also Treasure Planet. You see it? Yeah. Well, he composed the soundtracks for those, and they are fantastic. And I'm trying really hard to sort of reach that same, composition and orchestration, skill
Yeah.
level and all that. So
So you're really into like the soundtracks.
I am, yeah, because there's a interesting comparison to be made with both the metal genre and also the orchestral genre, because quite a few metal songs can really get you fired up. For example, your feel, like super sad or something.
Mhm.
And orchestral songs accomplish pretty much that exact same thing. And both of these genres shoot for large and, huge and larger than life, I guess, is
Yeah.
the best way
Yeah.
to put it. So,
So would you say composing for soundtracks would be your dream job or one of them?
yes, 100% absolutely. Because take some Disney film that you watched when you were like probably 9 or 12.
Yeah.
I saw the film Treasure Planet when I was like probably 7 or 9-ish.
Mhm.
And I was so fascinated with the entire film. And the soundtrack itself really made me feel like really strong emotions with the film.
Mhm.
So it's essentially my desire to help compose soundtracks for films that have that same effect
Mhm.
on future generations.
So so have you done any collaborations?
Collaborations, in terms of composing a song together, actually not quite yet. Though actually today at some point I'll probably be calling with another composer I found through Instagram.
Mhm.
and we will try to plan out a orchestral song album, I think, for the cross
Genre?
promotion, and also that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So what do you use what software are you using to produce, or what DAW are you using to?
I use Reaper,
Oh, really?
and it only costs like $60, I think.
Yeah.
So, and I purchased it right before my senior year of high school, so I didn't have any cash,
Right, right.
and it only costs $60, and I was like,
Yeah.
perfect.
And it's not it's a good one for that budget range. I mean, my mentor, he still uses Reaper. He doesn't want to learn FL Studios or Logic to produce,
Right.
which is fine because he's really good at that. But there's so many options now.
Yeah. It's
In
amazing.
ways like if you buy a certain keyboard or something, you might get a deal on it. And yeah, definitely the music sales on holidays and Black Friday is crazy. I don't know if you saw some of them this year, but it's like buy one effect, get three free. And this also that first one was like $20. It's usually 120. Like it's just, I couldn't justify not getting some because I needed some. And
Yeah.
I mean, I could have waited like another year, but why would I do that when I could save all the money?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
they hooked me on the sales, Guitar Center. I do buy your electronic stuff still. I don't know if I'll buy your products, but I will buy your um, effects and your virtual instruments online.
I know that Native Instruments actually ran a Christmas promotion in which they sent out a free reverb plugin called Realm,
Mm-hmm.
and it's fantastic for me. It sounds great, and it's free. And I also sent out a 10% off coupon, I think, for one of their products. And in the same vein as discounts, though, essentially every single company that produces those virtual instruments that can cost like 500, 600, 300, hundreds. They have an option for student discounts, which
Yeah.
can take off like probably 30%. I've seen the highest. And it's fantastic as well. It's just like, cool. So I actually have a purpose for my,
Yeah.
right state email.
Yeah, no. And you have to, the problem with that is you have to be able to log in within 6 months or something. So, like, I tried to use my Wright State email for something way after I went to Wright State. And they update your password or something every 6 months. So
Oh, really?
I couldn't log in. That's what they did when I went there. I don't know. So I was trying to log in, and they were like, "Well, you're not a student. We can't give you a new password." So, but I know Apple Music is $10 a month, but it's $5 if you're a student, and that's a great deal. So I was getting
That
it
is
for
good.
$5 when I was living in Nashville because I went to a school with an email.
Yeah.
Then when I went to the Recording Connection, the internship I did, which was a school and a certification program, they didn't give me an email. So just because of that, I couldn't save the money on it every month. But I'm willing to pay 10 for it because I really like the way Apple Music's platform works. So you're pretty active on YouTube. Is that where you learned like some of your skills, or did you learn some of your skills from a teacher, or how did you go about learning music?
Okay, so I learned music theory or the fundamentals from my music theory teacher in high school first, and then I learned how to orchestrate from a channel called Alex Mukala. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that last name correct. He has a ton of video tutorials essentially talking about how to use French horns with trombones and also how to have these like thick sounding strings and also like large sounding choirs and all that. And I found his channel like March of last year. And he's helped change like how I compose songs because I had like all this knowledge here that I didn't find until like 3 years in. I'm like, I could have used this knowledge so well
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't find it until 2 years, but yeah. Now, in terms of a composition, I watch these videos from someone called Jake Lizio, who has a channel called Signals Music Studio, I think. And he covered the 7 modes, which really helped because I couldn't really figure out exactly how Phrygian or Locrian or Lydian worked. And I finally figured it out. I'm like, thank you, Jake.
So a lot of online videos is what's helped you,
Mm-hmm.
and some
100%.
fundamentals with the teachers before that.
100%.
I think videos are just helpful for anybody who does anything. I mean, you could be a car mechanic and you can use a YouTube video to see where the specific entry for you to get to a part is. So, like, I think utilizing all that content, which most of it's free, is huge for anybody who's really looking to learn anything.
Absolutely.
Do you have a favorite project you've completed so far?
In December, I finished a track called the Orbital City. It is a 12-minute long track, and I started it in early November and finished it in like mid-December. And it was essentially a process of, okay, class, song, work for 6 hours, song, sleep, and repeat.
Yeah.
It was exhausting because I only had like 30, or no, like probably 10, 20 new seconds of song every 3 days. It was a huge thing to do. And it's a track that follows a protagonist that lands on this floating city that is orbiting around something, I don't know. And he essentially explores the city first, and it's this like sort of Victorian steampunk mix. And then the king himself is actually marching through the streets on like horses, and there's like soldiers with like these like tall flags and all that. It's like, yes, I'm the king. Can't you tell? I'm totally not overcompensating for something. But anyway, and the king himself, he seems like sort of weird.
Yeah.
It's like he seems sort of tyrannical since he's like sort of showing off himself. And then the protagonist meets another character who pulls him into a house and says, okay, protagonist, here's where plot happens. So King is a really terrible person because he, genocide, some other crap.
Yeah. Small stuff.
It's just like slaughtering, entire families and, taxes and all that. It's all that crap. It's kind of frustrating, but it's like, no. So the protagonist essentially thinks, okay, he sucks. So he sets off on an adventure to find the king's actual castle. And about halfway through the journey itself, he falls asleep because he's tired, obviously. And he wakes up inside a prison cell, and the king himself is on the other side of the cell, and they essentially talk about something, like probably like, haha, I've trapped you in a cell.
Yeah.
I win. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And the protagonist just sort of sits there for a second, or for like probably 5 minutes or so. And then some soldiers from the town itself are actually in these flying like jets that are firing directly at the king's, fortress. However, one of these soldiers sort of fucks up and he shoots the cell in which the protagonist is in. And so the protagonist falls through the atmosphere, essentially. However, that other character that he found catches him in his jet thing. And so they all fight the king. And at this point, the song is like super fast and, loud and all that. Yeah, and eventually they finally kill the king, and the protagonist is thinking, I'm going to fall asleep. I'm tired. And the song ends.
So is there a video to this?
Unfortunately, no. Okay. There's a video for the song, and the video visually is a like photo compilation of the photos I think match the story at least somewhat well for the most part. So that is the closest thing that you'll have to a video. I've tried to find like animators
Mm-hmm.
online for some of my songs,
Mhm.
though I can't find any.
Really?
It's a pain in the ass. Yeah.
I found some on Instagram, but the problem is some of them um, are just taking other clips of animation
Oh,
and you know what I mean, and putting it all together to a beat, which is like they're trying to charge for
that's
that. That's crazy.
that's not the same thing at
Yeah.
all, even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was talking on my episode, I believe it was episode 6 with Eric Loftman. I hope I said it right this time. And he
Yeah, I
started to
think
do an animation series with his friends.
it's called Happy Deer, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe see what he thinks. But um, yeah, he's definitely starting to work his way into doing more animations. But I mean, there's people online too. I know one guy. He said he does do it where he creates it himself. He's like,
Mhm.
why would you ever assume I don't? I'm like, because no one I've ever crossed actually makes it themselves. They just tell me they do, and then you find out they're just putting together anime clips. And I mean, I think that's cool, but not what I'm looking for.
All right.
So anyway, we will try to figure that out. Maybe I can let you know if someone tells me they do that. If you don't, hit up Eric.
Yeah.
Do you have any
Sounds good.
upcoming content that's coming out soon?
At the current moment, I don't think I have something planned yet.
Okay.
I'm currently working on a song that'll hopefully finish within a week. And I also purchased another virtual instrument pack of like world instruments.
Mhm.
So like the Chinese air hu and the cedar flute and the alp horn and frame drums and all that. So I'll probably try to compose something with that at some point soon.
Cool. We'll be interested to see it. Um, I'll definitely share or tag things too on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, where can people find you on YouTube?
It's John R. Mohr. So it's a Jon, and then it's a R, and then Mohr, which is a Mohr, which pretty much everybody thinks it's the other spelling. It's not the other spelling.
Yeah.
It's not the other spelling, guys.
So we will definitely share that so you guys get the spelling right, and then check out his YouTube. Check out his different content there. And where can people find your Instagram?
It's essentially the exact same as YouTube, though it's my entire name has a single like word. in
So
it,
it's just at John R. Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It
Cool.
should be, hopefully.
Okay. Well, if they search your name, you will also come up, even if they don't search your actual handle.
Yeah, true.
If they just search your name, they'll come up and
Mhm.
check his content out there. Um, do you have any advice for creators that are just starting out?
I'd recommend learning some music theory first, because if you don't have any like knowledge in that when you first start out, it's really hard
Yeah.
to compose a single thing, because like I'm not sure how this works.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, just learn some, and then if you're composing orchestral songs, search up Alex Mukala. It's a Moukala, and that'll save you quite some headache for the first like however many songs you finish.
Yeah.
And I think that's everything. I think.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, we can always add some more things in the comments, or if you share the post, you can add some more tidbits information.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with the whole music theory thing, because for me, making beats is a lot easier, and you don't have to learn every key within a scale, but you need to learn the method to figure out what the scale is from the key. So I use something called the Waffle House method.
Really?
Have you heard of that?
I haven't. I haven't. Though I think I know vaguely how it works.
For every major key and every
Oh,
minor
yeah.
key, you can figure out what the notes would be in the scale. So
Mhm.
then if I want to make a B, I'm just trying to find within those notes. And so, I mean, now if you're going to be composing some stuff, you might really want to learn into more depth. I think
Yeah,
with beat
definitely.
makers, though, they don't want to learn anything and they're very lazy. They're very, I want to make a beat right now. They just take a sample, don't even change the sample, and put drums on it. I mean, that is technically making an instrumental, but at least change the sample and add some, background sounds, be it strings or a pad or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and give it your own touch. And by doing so, you need to learn some music theory, whether that's, I also was studying the circle of fifths,
Yeah.
and I drove that out, and no one understood it for some reason. But to me, it made sense, especially because I had it at where I produced in Nashville in my house. I had it on the wall next to me, so I just
Mm-hmm.
like referenced it a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
look at those things, circle of fifths and Waffle House method. I couldn't find a lot online about the Waffle House method because I was trying to figure it out. So the way I actually figured it out again was by playing all the notes in a minor scale, counting the steps, and then realizing that those were the amount of steps between them. So if you have any questions about any of that stuff, get with me, or you can message me or John on Facebook. Check out his Instagram and his YouTube. I will put links to all that when we post this podcast. And I really appreciate you coming out, man. I
Mm-hmm.
had a good time doing this podcast, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it was cool because it's different than a lot of the stuff I've been doing. And yeah, hopefully we get to see you at an event or something in the upcoming future where people get to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks for everybody who was listening to this podcast, and have a great Friday.
See you guys.
Up Next Podcast.